I want to figure out what my next job is. I need to figure out how to handle this relationship problem. It usually comes from a place of wanting to control. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Soulfully Speaking. I'm your host, teacher, and guide, Brian Bachand. And as always, thank you so much for being here today. So let's dive into today's conversation, the life-changing key to figuring it out. Well, I'm sure we've all said that, right? We've all said, I have to figure out what my next step is. I have to figure out now that I'm in this job and it's going well, it's been so long, I need to figure out what's next. Or I need to figure out how I need to leave this job because it's just driving me crazy. It was going well, but it's really in a tough spot. Or we say things like, I need to figure out where I want to move. I'm just so unsure. I don't know what's next. I know I need to make a move, but I'm not sure what. And it can also be in some very practical things. Sometimes we say that expression. Technology is amazing. I love my iPhone. I love my apps. I love so many things about technology, but sometimes there's certain things, that happen and I have to figure it out and I don't enjoy it. I'll be honest with you. I wish I had an IT person right next to me all the time. They could be like, can you just set this up? Can you do this? Because for me, it just takes extra time to figure out how I do this or what I have to do if it's not something that I've done before. And sometimes I get so frustrated. If there's anything that can set me off and just go from a very peaceful Zen mode to then feeling so frustrated, it's things about technology. And I'll say things, I gotta figure this out. And when you say figure it out, oftentimes it's coming from a place of frustration. And when we say we have to figure it out, there's often anger or frustration or just a fatigue that also happens when trying to figure something out that isn't natural or you're not sure what to do. And the real issue is when you figure things out, you're trying to figure it out from your mind. You're trying to figure it out from our beautiful mind, which is amazing, but there's also a sense of trying to figure it out from your ego. It also comes from a place of a little bit of fear. There's sometimes fear when we say, I gotta figure it out, because it's a sense of, I'm not sure what to do. If I just keep doing what I'm doing, I'll feel safe. But if I figure it out in my mind, I'm going to have the right pieces. But if you only stay in the mind and the ego and trying to figure it out, all it does, it's like those baggage claim areas in an airport when you're waiting. If you've checked a bag in and the luggage just keeps circling around and around and around. And all you're doing is waiting to see if another bag falls out that's your bag. And, you just stand there waiting and watching in circles. That's kind of the same way if you're trying to figure something out. You can stand there a long time just looking in circles and maybe your bag got lost. Maybe somebody took your bag and you'll just stand there looking and looking, trying to figure out where is it? When is it coming out? It's only when you give yourself permission to feel and connect into your heart are you able to truly know what is the right next step. Only then are you able to connect to clarity and have that sense of, wow, okay, you know what? I now need to look and contact these 3 people in my network that I think are going to be really helpful. I really just have a good sense about reaching out to them and confidence to let them know I'm looking for a new job and where that is. And I'm just going to be open and maybe they'll have some good suggestions. Only when you connect to how you're feeling and you open into your heart are you able to start to move from figuring it out to moving forward with a sense of faith, trust, and openness. The key to figuring it out isn't figuring it out in your mind. The key is to allow yourself to unlock to your feeling and to unlock to your heart and to be open to what that space is trying to share with you. So here's a couple things to think about. Oftentimes when you are trying to make a big decision, sometimes there are decisions that we are just being brought into because we need to. Maybe there's a particular family situation that is impacting you, and you just know, like, I just can't go on like this anymore. I'm getting burnt out. I'm feeling overwhelmed. This is just not helping me. I need to start to make a decision, and I need to set some boundaries. But if you try and make that from your sense of your ego, or your mind, of trying to figure it out, oftentimes it won't come out the way that you want it to. It can either come out with maybe not the clarity or the openness or the warmth that you want it to. But when you connect into that sense of, okay, I want to make this new change because I really just need to have more space. This particular relationship is causing a lot of anxiety, or there's just been some things that I just need to create a boundary that is going to help me to be able to move forward here. And not animosity, not slamming the door, but to really be open and to feel what that is. Because when you feel what it is about the issue, that is going to help free you in your heart to listen and to be more open to what is trying to be shown to you. That is where a lot of people, make the big mistake, or people will say, I've been trying to figure out things for so long and I'm not getting anywhere. Well, because when we're trying to figure stuff out from our brain and from our ego, oftentimes there's that frustration, that anger, that sense of, okay, why am I not getting this? Something's the matter with me. What am I doing wrong? Oftentimes you're not doing anything wrong. It's just you're blocking what is in your heart and your soul and your spirit trying to show you and trying to guide you. So here's something to do. Think about something right now that you're trying to figure out, whether it's a significant issue, whether it's an issue about a family, about a job, about finances, about a relationship, about something that is, renovating in your home, and now the construction people aren't showing up, and you don't like conflict, and so you're trying to figure out, how am I going to handle this? Whatever it is, think about what that is. And now what I want you to say to yourself is to say, I release not knowing what to do, and I allow an openness to come to. The openness is your heart. The openness is whatever is going to be of the greatest good to help in that moment. And openness is just maybe speaking to a good friend and venting what some of the issues are, but then just letting it go and just saying, I'm just going to let this go. I'm just going to let this go for the day. And I'm just going to go for a walk. I'm going to go do what I need to do. I need to focus on this project. I need to do this. When you allow yourself to have that openness and to create that space, you are moving from just the mind and the ego into the soul, into the spirit, that is going to then bring to your attention with a different energy and a peace of what may be the next right step for you to take. And oftentimes it will come to us in a way of, in a thought that you haven't thought about. All of a sudden, you've been applying for jobs online, you're trying to figure out what the next right job is, and you're hearing crickets every time you send in something. Nothing. No one's responding. You're like, what am I doing wrong? Instead, just to say, I am okay not knowing if these are the right jobs. I'm going to be in openness. And all of a sudden, you might just be out, going out to your car to get in, and, you're about to drive out of the driveway when all of a sudden someone comes to your mind that was maybe a vendor in a company that used to come in. And you remember a conversation that you had with them that you never thought of. And you're like, I just have this sense like I should reach out to them, but I'm not sure why. But there's a peacefulness, there's something there. That is the key. That is the sense of what's next for you, to follow that. When we connect back to how we're feeling, when we connect back and allow the openness of our heart and our spirit, that is where intuitive nudges and guidance will come to you. Now you might be thinking, well, how do I know it's not my brain trying to kick in? How do I know it's not just my ego trying to come back in? How do I know it's my intuition? Very simple. If you've made that open statement of like, I'm just going to let this go. I'm okay not knowing. I'm going to feel and just be present. And I'm just asking to be guided. You will receive either a thought, a feeling. You're going to all of a sudden receive an email from someone that something they say is like, gosh, there's a trigger that comes with it in a very positive way of, wow, this is something I was just thinking about the other day. Or you'll all of a sudden like have a conversation with someone and they'll mention a book or a particular job or a particular place that just there's a sense of almost like an energy that comes with it. There's a very peaceful like boost and surge of energy. That's when you know it's your intuition. And it's important, the way to test it is to follow it and to just see what it leads to next. Now, if it's some big moment that is saying, oh my gosh, you have to pack up and move to Bolivia in, a month, well, I would probably test it a little bit more. Doesn't mean that it's not right, but I'm not saying that you have to move in that direction so quickly. Sometimes you have to test it. But for the point of our soulful conversation today, and just to open up, this conversation is just about opening up to connect deeply and to listen rather than trying to figure it out in your mind, which will never, ever help you figure it out to the level that you need to. You will have the clarity and the connection in a deeper way. It's a beautiful way to live. It's a beautiful way to navigate the many challenges that come in life and the many times that we will have to make decisions or we'll be confronted on challenging moments. Figuring it out is sometimes the worst thing because it's usually a reaction, it's fear-based, it's something that we just feel we have to do, as opposed to really tapping into, wow, how do I feel about this? What do I need to be open to? And it will follow and it will work in harmony and move things forward in a way with much greater ease rather than the opposite. So today or this week or wherever you are in the world in this moment listening to this conversation, remember that. Remember, if you're saying, I'm trying to figure it out, or you're trying to move things forward and you keep trying to figure things out, but things aren't making sense and you're getting frustrated, you need to connect back to your heart, connect back to that spirit within you and say, I'm okay not knowing, and I open myself. I wish you a beautiful day. I wish you a soulful day, and I can't wait to see you very soon for our next conversation.